Hi there, Mythfits. In this video, I am excited to talk to you all about Myths and Mistletoe, my holiday story collection. Are you ready to hear about it? Let's get started. Myths and Mistletoe is my holiday story collection. It includes 4 stories that are set around the winter holidays, and they aren't all Christmas stories. One of them is set on Christmas. One of them takes place around winter solstice. One of them involves the Haloa festival, which is an ancient Greek holiday that celebrated Poseidon. And one of them is a New Year's Eve story, underwater style. Um, and each of the 4 stories is set in a different one of my 4 story worlds, the 4 series that I've written. Um, so they each get a holiday story. The inspiration for Myths and Mistletoe happened when I was on a camping trip in Utah in September 2017 for my birthday. And I was there thinking about the holidays that were going to be coming up soon and about how much I love reading holiday short stories and holiday novellas, especially romance novel holiday anthologies are my jam. And I was lying there thinking, like, why can't I write a holiday anthology? And I decided to come home and do it. And so from September and I went home and I wrote it and I edited it and got it edited and produced it. And by December, it was out in the world. So it happened really quickly. Now, the 4 stories that are in the holiday collection, like I said, they all take place in my existing series, and some of them will contain spoilers if you haven't read the other books in those series. Um, but I will mention as I tell you about each story, which ones might have some spoilers that you might want to go read the beginning of the series before you read these stories. The first story in the collection is called Of Solstice Dreaming, which, if you couldn't guess, that's the one that takes place in the winter solstice, and it is set in my Darkly Fae realm. And it's basically about Winnie Price, who's the main character of the first Darkly Fae novella, who has spent years dreaming about the magical winter solstice celebration in the Fae realm. And this is the year that she's finally going to get to attend it. But things kind of go awry and not according to plan. And she wonders if her dream is still going to be able to come true. This is one that definitely you'll want to have read the other parts of the series, at least When Magic Sleeps, the first one, which you can get for free on my website. I will include a link below. And you can also get this particular short story of Solstice Dreaming for free, and I'll include the link for that too. So basically, you can read When Magic Sleeps for free and then read this story for free. So that's the story in the collection that's set in the Darkly Fae realm and around the winter solstice. The second story in the collection is called A Myth Carol, and it is set in my Sweet Venom realm with my triplet monster hunting descendants of Medusa. And this one, it takes place after the time of the trilogy, the Sweet Venom trilogy, so you'll want to read that before you read this. But basically, this story stars Gretchen Sharp, who is one of my Medusa girls, and she's never really had a very good Christmas. She hasn't had a really good life before the trilogy, and she'd really rather spend the holidays hunting down mythological monsters than fighting over mashed potatoes with family. But as she's out on her hunt, she goes on 3 hunts that turn into kind of sentimental moments, and maybe they're going to change her mind. So, A Myth Miss Carol is the story that is set at Christmas and in my Sweet Venom world. The third story in Myths and Mistletoe is called Snow Falling on Surfopola, which is set in my Oh My Gods world. This again takes place after the time of Oh My Gods and Goddess Boot Camp, but it stars as secondary characters, so there aren't as big of spoilers. So if you haven't read those, it's probably okay if you read this, but the books might give you a better idea of what's happening in this world. But Snow Falling on Surfopola is set around the Haloa festival to Poseidon, which is generally supposed to be a time of hope and thinking about the future. But Adara Spencer hasn't been feeling particularly hopeful because of things that we learn in Goddess Boot Camp. But then a surprise island snowfall brings three surprise visitors to her door, and maybe she's going to have a better Haloa than she thought she was. So that's the third story that is set around the Haloa festival in my Omen Gods world. And the fourth and final story in Myths and Mistletoe is called Year New Mermaid, and it is set in my Forgive My Fins world. This is one, it's like completely separate. It's characters that you don't meet in the Forgive My Fins trilogy, so you could read this without knowing anything about the world. But basically, it's set around the new year, because New Year, New Mermaid, and it stars a mermaid named Marina Borealis, who has had a crush on her best friend since like forever. And of course, she doesn't think he feels the same way, which she thinks really sucks on New Year's Eve. And they're going to a dance, and she thinks he's going to end up with someone else. Is she going to end up spending another year with unrequited love, or is everything going to change before the shell drops at midnight? You have to read the story to find out. And that is the story set at New Year's Eve with my Forgive My Fins world. So those are the four stories that are in Myths and Mistletoe, and I think they're a lot of fun, and I hope you guys like them too. And lastly, I want to talk about any future plans for this particular book or similar books, story collections. Right now, the Myths and Mistletoe is available as a hardcover, which is so pretty, and then also in paperback, which is a little more affordable, and of course, as an ebook. I also am planning to do an audiobook version. I think I'm going to read it myself, which is kind of scary. But hopefully by this time next year, the audiobook version will be available. I kind of also want to do like a special edition version that maybe has color illustrations inside and some like other bonus stuff. So stay tuned for that. And I definitely sometime want to write another holiday collection, whether it's winter holidays or like a different season. Like I really like writing these fun little kind of vignette side stories related to my books, but not necessarily part of the main series. So I definitely am planning to do more of those in the future. So if you like reading holiday story collections as much as I do, holiday anthologies, then I hope you'll pick up Myths and Mistletoe and let me know which story is your favorite. Okay? Until next time, stay magical.